What's going on, folks? Casualeann here. Apparently there's this thing called the millennial pause, in which slightly older folks in the millennial generation pause right before their videos begin because they don't trust the technology. In my case, my old iPhone hisses right before I start recording. So if you've seen a lot of millennial pausing, that is why. But we are going to get into the Raw Talk review from August 8th. You'll see that I'm in my office today. And from now, kind of going forward, at least for the foreseeable future, the Raw Talk and SmackDown Lowdown reviews will take more of a live stream format. I just don't have the time anymore to spend a dozen plus hours a week editing. But the predictions videos will still be edited. You won't have to hear me, be human. And in exchange for the sacrifice that you guys will be making, you'll get your reviews at a regular time, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. You'll be able to interact with me live via chat. I don't have any moderators or anything, so no telling what will be said. Yeah, it'll all work out, and I am so glad to have each and every one of you who is watching here with me. Okay, so Raw Talk, August 8th. The fun kind of kept going on after 3 hours of Raw. I'm always impressed when that ends up happening. But they start with a replay of the main event. AJ tore The Miz and Ciampa wide open. And then Raw ended with security carting off Dexter Lumis, who Daddy Trips actually brought back. So I completely missed the car crash from kind of earlier and all those different references they were making to Dexter Lumis or whomever, some kind of thing going on. I'd missed all of that. And so I had to go back to actually look. But then they go into Edge and Dominic having a bit of difficulty seeing eye to eye, which played kind of into Ray's match against Finn Balor. So Edge backs up Ray and he runs off Priest, and just when Ray's about to get the upper hand, Rhea Ripley comes out. And she's carrying Dominic on her shoulders, and just pops him down, and that distraction seems to cost her father, or his father rather, the match. I don't really understand the point of kind of masculinizing Rhea Ripley right now. I don't get why she has to decimate Dominic week after week after week after week. And I think that Edge and Ray's side kind of needs a woman to offset kind of the chaos that Rhea Ripley is bringing to all of this feuding. But we see backstage that Edge is talking about Damian, their upcoming one-on-one match, which is going to be in his hometown or near his hometown in Toronto. And he cuts this promo as part of his interview with Sarah Schreiber. He tells Damian to put down his gothic bookends and face him. He says, who was there when you called at all times of the night? He said, you want to end my career in my hometown? There's a point in the match when he's going to be looking up at me and he's going to say to Damian Priest, son, you don't understand the mistake you just made. See you in Toronto, kid. And what was so seemingly odd about this promo is the sense of change that you actually get with Edge. Now he's gone from being Damian Priest's coach, being his kind of wrestling mentor, to now being someone with such animosity and hatred, just ready to tear Damian Priest fall apart. But Jerry the King Lawler's not as sure as the Rated R superstar is about his, supposed upcoming victory. He thinks that Edge is just trying to convince himself of his ability to beat Damian Priest. He says he needs to take a long talk with himself in the mirror and realizes that this might be his last match ever. That alludes to him having some backup in Toronto, and I'm curious as to what he may mean here, because he doesn't mention names or anything. Is it Captain Charisma? Is it Kevin Owens? Sami Zayn? Insert another Canadian here. I just have no clue. But after a break, we see a replay from Bobby Lashley and Ciampa's US Championship match. And I am telling you, Triple H worked the heck out of me on this one, because I just knew Ciampa was winning. From the social media posts to the Miz interference, the red, white, and blue ring gear, the constant Harley Race references. So when Lashley won, it made it all the more thrilling to me. I was like, yes, never prouder to be a part of the almighty nation, right? Great name for his fans, by the way. He's more popular than they actually let on, I believe. The audience was super loud, and they were doing like the signature fist pump to his music that he does. And he still went over strong, I think. Even more so because he essentially had to fight off two people because of the Miz. The conversation moves to Dana Brooke and Tamina versus Dakota Kai and Io Sky in the first round of the Women's Tag Team Championship match. The latter were able somehow to put away the 24/7 bunglers, although it felt a little wrong for them to do it so quickly. Like, I get it, it's Dana Brooke and Tamina, but give them a little dignity. Sarah Schreiber is with the new faction, I believe it's called Control now. She asks about how they feel about who they'll face next, and Dakota thinks none of who they're about to face can actually lace their wrestling boots. Io talks about being excited about becoming Women's Tag Team Champions. And so then Sarah asks about the six-woman tag at Clash at the Castle. And so we have the Control faction, Bayley, Dakota Kai, Io Sky versus Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair. So Bayley thinks they've waited long enough to be recognized. They can't wait until Clash at the Castle to make them pay and to be Women's Tag Team Champions. So it's still airing some frustrations there about NXT, the main roster politics, all that sort of thing. Nice reference to the audience, people who keep up with that. They're maintaining some intrigue. I give them credit for that. But in the booking of the Tag Team Championship tournament, I still say I did it better. I had 16 teams. Their tournament only has 8. How on earth do you start a tournament at the quarterfinals? There is no true first round with that happening. But anyway, if you haven't seen my booking of the Women's Tag Team Tournament, please have a look at it. I did it right after Naomi and Sasha's walkout. So who was there and who everyone, or not who everyone was, but who some of the people are, is a little bit different. But it still has some interesting parallels and differences. So yeah, check that out. After a final commercial break, they covered the local jobber squash with Omos. This is coming from MVP. He says, what I do is help people unlock their true potential. Omos is getting that now, and the two of us are going straight to the top. And if you want to find us, and then he turns to Omos, follow the bodies. I laughed out loud. That's the most charisma that I've ever seen him display on the main roster. Sometimes less is more, especially when it comes to the Giants, who might not be the greatest on the mic. It's fine. But they then go to Seth Rollins, his one-on-one match with Dawkins, and of course he defeats him. The Street Profits can now win for losing, and it's tough to watch. Oh. Matt Camp points out that Tez was maybe a little late in saving Dawkins, which is interesting. Jackie Redmond asks if they're in trouble, and Lawler concurs. He said he got tired of the prophets saying they want the smoke. He says the smoke has avoided you, time to call it quits. What does he mean? When is the WWE Universe going to get on board and get on the Seth train? He's the one who's best. That's the person that Jerry the King Lawler wants to talk about. He's the one that he's putting over. I kind of agree with the Seth part though, because he is amazing. And he needs to be right near the top, even if he doesn't exactly need to be the bearer of the championship. When asked about the 6-woman tag at Clash at the Castle, King thinks it's awesome, you can't look away from it, and he loved the return of Bayley and is looking for big things from her. He says if you could win matches with your mouth, she would win them all. And he's looking for a Bayley Kai and Sky win at Clash at the Castle. So they're putting over this faction hard. Like Jackie's just gushing about how they collectively have awakened this women's division. I wonder where Veer's gone, by the way. It took him such a long time to come. And then he was gone in like a month. But the NXTers have truly taken over. I'll give Trips credit for keeping Bobby in and not letting Tommaso Ciampa actually defeat him right away. We'll see how all that plays out. The show wasn't quite as great as last week's episode, but I still thought it was pretty good. There's massive improvement still over the previous month. It was a solid 4 out of 5. And Edge's segment is the one to see. He outlines the Judgment Day and somehow even manages to make its breakdown make sense. It doesn't most of the time, but somehow he manages to make it that way. Or he's at least convincing you to believe that maybe it does. So what do you all think of Edge, Ray, and the Judgment Day? Down to. Who's about to win the Women's Tag Team Tournament? And does it even matter if Sasha and Naomi are about to come back? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Tap that bell icon to make sure you get notifications for when new videos come out. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.